Hi everyone, I just wanted to take a moment to address a little bit of confusion that I've seen in the community with regard to weapon accuracy in Destiny. And the confusion is pretty understandable because Bungie has been quite hesitant to release specifics on weapon stats and the mods that affect those weapon stats. Now I just want to quick define what I'm going to be talking about in this video. So overall weapon accuracy in Destiny is affected by three things, and that's stability, target acquisition, and accuracy. These are Bungie's terms, not mine, and in this video I'm going to be specifically talking about the mods that affect accuracy as Bungie terms it. So these are mods like Hipfire, Icarus, and Persistence. Any mod that specifically says accuracy in the description. Okay, in order to get a better idea of accuracy, I'm going to show you a couple of perks. So the first perk is Send It. The perk Send It reads, increases range and accuracy. Send It is in the middle perk slot, and it's on Thorn. Right now I don't have it equipped, I have Perfect Balance equipped. So this is the gun without Send It. I'm going to mark the Cone of Fire in Hipfire mode with a red circle. I'm going to leave that circle up so you can see that I don't change the size or anything of the red circle. Let's put Send It on. And I'm going to mark the new Cone of Fire with yellow. You can see it's quite significantly smaller. Okay, well you may be saying, but that could very well just be the increased range portion of it. Okay, let's take a look at a new perk called Icarus, which is improves accuracy while airborne. So Icarus is in the first perk slot, which means it's pretty much baked into the gun. I can't turn it off like I could for Send It. So I'm going to have to be comparing two different guns here, and I'm going to be using Jewel of Osiris, which has Icarus on it, and Fatebringer. Now these are essentially the same gun for our intents and purposes. They're the same archetype, and they have pretty similar stats, if you can tell this by this comparison. And the main thing is that they have the same range, so that shouldn't affect anything like it might have for Send It. So I'm just going to do the same thing here, where I'm going to mark the Cone of Fire, except this time I'm going to do it while jumping, because that's where Icarus takes effect. So there it is, it looks pretty similar to the comparison for Send It. For now, let's take a look at our third perk, which is Persistence. And Persistence, it's going to follow the same pattern. It's going to affect the Cone of Fire of the weapon, but I would suggest that Persistence, more than anything, affects the Cone of Fire bloom of the weapon. So if you're not familiar with Cone of Fire bloom as a term, it just means how much the Cone of Fire grows after each shot to make it harder for you to land follow-up accurate shots. So for this test, I'm just going to mark the starting Cone of Fire of the gun, and in the first couple seconds you can tell that the Cone of Fire blooms normally, but then once Persistence kicks in, the Cone of Fire bloom is going to completely disappear, and it's going to be the same as the starting Cone of Fire. So now that you've seen the uncut versions of these clips, I'm going to include some really quick zoomed in versions so that the differences in Cone of Fire are easier to see. Alright, while I give my closing thoughts here, I'm just going to put some pre-Thorn buff PvP footage in the background. Okay, I think I've shown that there's definitely some sort of correlation between accuracy, as Destiny terms it, and Cone of Fire. Now, I just want to mention briefly, because it'll probably come up, even though I was testing all these accuracy Cone of Fire changes in Hipfire mode, that doesn't mean they're not still happening in aim down sights. It's just a lot easier to observe the Cone of Fire in Hipfire mode because you get the nice reticule drawn on your screen. Now, Cone of Fire is drastically reduced when you are in aim down sights, so you automatically essentially get greatly improved accuracy when you're aiming down sights with any weapon in the game. But you still do contend with Cone of Fire, especially in automatic weapons. You have Cone of Fire Bloom, which can be pretty significant still, even when you're aiming down sights. All that to say that accuracy isn't a pointless stat, even if you aim down sights at all times. There's a theory that accuracy also includes bullet magnetism, and I just wanted to briefly address that. The reason that I don't think that's correct is because, in general, Destiny's terms seem to be pretty cryptic, and we don't have precise statistics. But in general, as we can see with accuracy, there is definitely a pattern with what we can observe each stat affecting. And I don't know of two other stats in this game that have any overlap. There's no overlap between discipline and intellect, for instance. There's no overlap between agility and recovery or armor. There's no overlap between impact and stability. And I get it, because the terms that I had listed are obviously a lot more precise. They're harder to mistake for something else intrinsically. Accuracy is kind of just an inherently imprecise term when there are obviously multiple stats that affect a weapon's overall accuracy in this game. Realistically, they should use terms that are specific, like Cone of Fire, or like Muzzle Climb, or Muzzle Drift. But regardless of the fact that we don't have precise terms, it still seems like they're used in a precise way. And what I mean by that is that they are used consistently to indicate distinct bonuses. So if they're not allowing for any overlap, if they're using distinct terms, then I think we have to imagine that accuracy and target acquisition would not overlap, and that bullet magnetism would definitely be a part of target acquisition. With all that being said, I do want to test bullet magnetism. After reviewing the footage from Planet Destiny's video on target acquisition, I think it's pretty clear to me that there is definitely at least some bullet magnetism, which I was actually kind of skeptical of before. But after going through the footage, I kind of found it to be a little bit inconclusive with regard to how much target acquisition actually affects that bullet magnetism. So if I ever do get some people to help me test the bullet magnetism, then we can definitely test if accuracy affects it as well, just to throw that in there. But we'll see if that happens. But for now, thanks for watching my video, and have fun playing Destiny.